Hello and welcome into the RotoWire Esports Show. My name is Andrew Laird, joined as always by Ethan Sexton. This time to talk about Thursday's four-game LPL LCK slate. Ethan, you had a pretty good call yesterday with Sandbox, and they were part of the winning lineup today. Tomorrow's slate seems a little easier odds-wise, except for one matchup. We have, I think, the biggest favorite we've seen all season. In Damwon. Last I checked, they were minus 1,700, which, for those who prefer percentages, is just a hair under 94.5% win chance. But we'll get into why maybe you don't need them on tonight's slate. But it seems like there's one, like this T1 Gen G match, the other LCK one is going to decide the slate. Do you see any differently?
No, not really. I mean, that's the tough one, the tough series to really figure out for tomorrow. These other three are pretty big favorites against some of the worst teams in the league. Or in Damon's case, it's arguably probably the best team in the league against the worst team in the league in Korea. So obviously that's reflected in their salaries and in the odds, like you just said. So yeah, that one's a really lopsided affair. But these two LPL series are also pretty heavily favored for WE against TT, which I just found out recently that stands for Thunder Talk Gaming, which I thought was an excellent name for a team. I like that a lot. So yeah, they're So WE are pretty big favorites up against them, and then RNG against OMG. RNG are also massive favorites. So in 3 out of the 4 series, you've got teams at the top of the table against teams at the bottom of the table, and the toughest series to figure out by far is going to be that T1 Gen G series, and that's a series where they've split a lot in the past. I think in the summer last year they went 1-1 against each other, and it's kind of been that way for the past couple of years. Like, they're both top teams in Korea, and that one could really go either way. So can't fault anybody for wanting to play either side of it, and should be a really good series on paper. The scary thing with T1, of course, is potential sub risks and not knowing their starting lineup. Although if you get on Twitter before they start at 3 a.m., you might be able to find who they're running. You probably should be able to find who they're starting at least, which I wish I would have done this morning for my Sandbox lineup with Route not playing over and Leo getting his first start.
That was a tough one.
Yes, that one stuck it to me a bit. So good call. It was a good call on them winning, but I didn't have Leo in my lineups, and that was unfortunate. But, and it was also, I can't give myself too much credit either, because although we got the Sandbox game right, I said that the DRX series might be slow and not that exciting, and of course DRX were the highest scoring team on the slate, so,
Fair
the
enough.
good with the bad, I guess. But anyway, getting back to tomorrow's slate, yeah, that T1 Gen G one's a really, that's the one you got to really figure out, because otherwise you can't play RNG, you can't play RNG with Damwon or WE. You can't play Damwon with WE. You can't. So the other 3 favorites, you really can't play them together. You could probably do a double support lineup if you want to do that, but obviously that's going to cap your upside. And then, do you really want to take a shot on any of these other underdogs? I sure don't. So that T1 Gen G series is definitely the one we got to kind of figure out which side we want to be on.
Do you think there's a way that Damwon just blow them out in terms of time as opposed to kills, and that they just don't even come close to paying off their salaries because they just roll over them?
For sure. I mean, we've talked about that in other matchups that are like this. Similarly, I think, like you said, Damwon are the biggest favorites we've seen thus far since we've been doing these. That's always a concern in matchups like this, where you've got such a heavily lopsided matchup that the underdog might not even put up a fight at all, and then obviously that's going to cap the amount of kills that Damwon could potentially get tomorrow. So if it ends up being like that, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be tough for Damwon to pay off their salaries. I mean, like, today we had IG as the biggest favorites, but we weren't scared of them, partly because of how they've been playing so poorly. We weren't scared of them being in the situation where they wouldn't pay off their salaries if they won, just because they were going to probably need to fight and scrap it out a bit, whereas, I mean, Damwon might not see much resistance tomorrow, and that, you know, they could just get out to early leads and snowball and win these games in slightly over 20 minutes and just not have the kill totals you're looking for when, you know, they're the top price plays in pretty much every role, I believe.
Yeah.
That's definitely a cause for concern with them.
When I was looking at the slate, I saw before I saw who they were playing, I saw that Fred at Breon was on the slate, and I was like, all right, well, I know I'm going to play whoever's playing them, and then it was like, it's Damwon. Like, that's, like, I mean, obviously,
Damwon are a team that definitely push the pace and stuff, but it's just like they can only make their opponent do so much. I mean,
right.
And if the series is so lopsided, reflected in the odds and everything as it should be, you know, I can definitely see Damwon ending games with like 15, 16 kills instead of like pushing over 20. Whereas I think probably all these other series, teams that win the game should be looking around 20 kills. I mean, there is concern for T1 Gen G that it's a slower paced series as well. It could be potentially, but these LPL favorites, I think, will be the ones that score, you know, that really push the pace and can cap 20 kills in their game. So, not saying Damwon won't do it; they certainly could, but I think it's a little riskier to assume that they're gonna you know 100% pay off their salaries tomorrow.
Are we gonna get? I didn't end up seeing like how like the combined ownership, but like we were talking for yesterday's slate that like IG were the biggest favorite. And we were like, but they actually might not be that highly owned because people liked E-Star so much. Not that anybody likes Fred at Breon, but do you think because they're like, I'm going to get so much out of WE or RNG, that Damwon actually goes a little underowned?
You know, I don't think so. Honestly, just because I think like they're so safe. And they are a team that really can push the pace and put up high kill totals that I think people won't be too afraid of using them. So I think they'll probably be, you know, fairly high owned to go along with WE and RNG. So those three teams might split ownership fairly evenly, but we might see them all above like a 30% threshold or something like that. So I wouldn't expect Damwon to really be too low owned. I mean, on today's slate, like IG, even though IG have been playing like crap and, you know, a lot of places were pushing out E-Star as the big upset play, I mean, pretty much all of IG were above 30%, I think, in the $15. So I think it's probably going to be similar for all three of the big favorites tomorrow. I think they'll leech ownership off of each other, but none of them will really be low owned. It would be my guess.
Is there a reason that somebody should prioritize WE over RNG or vice versa?
I think you could go either way. I kind of like WE more. I think they might end up with more kills, and it's literally just like a gut feeling. I don't know, but I think both teams both teams should score. I think both teams win 2-0, and I think they probably both score around the same amount of points, honestly, which is sort of a cop-out answer, I know, but I feel a little bit better about WE. I like their lineup a lot. I think TT are really bad. But, you know, OMG are equally as bad, and they're playing their backup mid laner in the top lane tomorrow. So RNG definitely have potential to outscore WE or Damwon. I mean, I think all three of those teams are pretty good bets to score fairly well. I really feel great about both LPL teams, honestly. Like, I think they both push the pace, and they pay off their salaries, and they probably both win 2-0. And while Damwon wins 2-0, you know, they're slight concern. I mean, I wouldn't shy away from using them if anybody's thinking about using them, but slight concern that they just don't score as highly as the two LPL favorites.
Do you think we'll see a lot of double support lineups with the two LPL favorites?
Maybe. I mean, I know that's still something that people do. I won't be doing it, that's for sure. But you'll probably see a few of those in there. I mean, it's really hard to. You can't fit the junglers in, I don't think.
No.
You can't do a two jungle lineup. So if you do want to get two of the huge favorites in your lineup, you're looking at either playing two supports from those teams or you're looking at doing like a one-off with one of the big underdogs because in like the team slot or something like that, because you can't even do a one-off with like Gen G's team because you can't fit, they're not priced down low enough that you can fit in to even do a double jungle with these favorites, which could have been a popular way to go because obviously Gen G's team slot is that's probably a 2-1 series one way or the other, and then their team slot probably pays that salary off potentially even in a loss. So that could have been a way to go. But yeah, so double support might end up being popular just because that's a way you can jam in 2 of the 3 massive favorites tomorrow.
Gross. So you mentioned that OMG's starting their backup mid laner in the top lane. That doesn't seem like, we weren't trying to get after OMG anyway, but are there certain situations where you're like if there's a top laner who's starting in the mid lane, would we rather, if that's the situation, then theoretically you can roster up to 3 mid laners if you captain one, like taking a mid laner and playing them in the top lane seems disadvantageous, but what are the situations where we it probably doesn't even happen that often now that I'm like going down this rabbit hole.
Right. No, it's pretty rare that would happen. And, this Bright spent most of last year in the academy setup for OMG. So I'm wondering if he played some top lane there, or maybe if he's been learning the role in the offseason. But what's kind of funny about this matchup, of course, is that, Xiaohu is a former mid laner as well. But at least he was coming into the season knowing he was going to role swap. So I don't know when OMG made this decision about Bright. Like, has he been playing the role and practicing in the role? Has he been doing scrims with the team in that role in the off season and stuff? I have no clue with him. So at least we knew with Xiaohu that he was coming into the season, he was going to be the top laner. So he'd obviously been putting in some work in the role. So it is kind of funny we got 2 mid laners in the top lane going against each other in that matchup tomorrow.
And only one of them actually qualifies as a top laner.
Yeah, I see Bright is listed as the mid laner. So even if you were going to get kind of crazy with and go OMG in a MME or something like that, he's probably not going to end with very high kill participation. I wouldn't waste a mid lane spot on him since he's playing top lane because he's probably not going to see the KP we want, and that's obviously going to limit his score line.
Right. Do you think the loser of T1 Gen G outscores OMG or TT if those also go 2-1? If that makes sense? Like if Damwon's the only sweep, which losing team scores the most?
Man, I don't know. I would see, like, I'm biased when I say this. I would lean the loser of T1 Gen G.
Right.
But the only reason I say that is because, both of those teams are obviously top of the league teams, whereas TT and OMG are bottom of the league teams in China. So maybe it's just bias there, thinking that way, because both those teams are better, they're going to score better even if they lose. I'm going to guess that we're not going to see that being an issue, though, because I do think we're getting sweeps. But, hey, we've seen crazy things on every slate this year, so who's to say?
Right. So what are the T1 lineup things we have to look for?
Yeah, so with
at
them,
3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, East
I know.
Coast.
Set your alarms. Get on Twitter. There are guys out there that'll retweet the lineups and find the lineups and things like that. If you want some of those people, I can direct you to them. If you message me on Twitter or leave a comment on the video, we'll get you some links to look for the lineups. But obviously the big one's going to be who's going to start between Faker and Closer in the mid lane because they've split the 2 series that T1 played last week, and then it looks like. Gumiyushi is taking over the starting role for Teddy. But they could do something weird and bring Teddy back in and it wouldn't shock me, so I don't know. But it looks like he's taking over that starting role at AD carry, so he's probably fairly safe, all things considered. The big one's definitely that mid lane one with who's going to start between Faker and Closer since we've seen them both play so far this season.
And of course, the super annoying thing will be when you get up at 2:30, get the right lineup, and then they switch after game 1 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They lose game 1, and then they bring in subs, so yeah, it won't even matter.
So nothing really expected from Gen G or Damwon in terms of... Damwon won't matter at 2:30 in the morning, but...
No, Gen G's Benji's lineup is the same as last year. They're going to run those same guys. I mean, they have backups, but they're going to play the same core five that they played from last year and have played so far this season. And then Damwon, because they're facing such a bad team, is it an opportunity to bring in their backup top laner to start over Khan? I mean, it potentially could be, but they haven't played a lot of games on stage. They're not on stage; they're playing remote, but you know what I mean. Together yet, so they're still building some synergy with Khan as their new top laner. So I mean, I didn't expect Leo to play this morning though either, so I can't say with 100% certainty, of course, but I would expect Khan to start, and like to your point too, we won't know the starting lineups for that series until lineup locks over anyway. So no matter which way you go, you're not going to know 100%. But I would expect Khan to start there tomorrow. I don't think there's too much risk of him sitting.
Cool. All right. If you guys have enjoyed this video, if you just please hit the like button below. Feel free to subscribe to get all of the RotoWire videos. We're doing mostly League of Legends now, but there's some hockey stuff going on as well if you guys are into fantasy hockey. Basketball, NBA as well. Keeps getting hit most days. So, So, Ethan, thank you for that, and good luck on Thursday.
Yep. All right, man. Let's get the combos right tomorrow.